All right, gentlemen, I want to give you some tips when you're shopping for suits off the rack at department stores, or boutiques, or men's clothing stores on how to understand if a suit or a jacket fits you and if you can tailor it or not. My name is Mary. My shop here in Phoenix is Q Contrary. I custom make a lot of suits. I started selling a really great brand of suits off the rack, and I do a ton of alterations, okay? So let's start. Now listen, ladies, some of these points in tailoring will work for your build as well. The only issue, women, is inside your garments. Factories and brands don't offer a lot of seam allowance, so we can't always let stuff out as we can in men's clothing. So women's clothing, there's not extra fabric inside to let out, but can always take in. So keep that in mind, right? Some of these tips will work for you, some of these tips will not work for you, ladies. Okay, so gentlemen, the key thing when you're buying a suit or a jacket off the rack is you want this part, the chest, the arms, all of this to fit the best, okay? Because you can take the stomach in. This part here, for the most part, you can take the stomach in and make it trimmer, but we cannot really tailor this part, right? If your chest is so big that this is curving out, it's because the size of the panel here is so small and your chest is so big that it's not going around and it's poking out, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to fix it. I'm so sorry, it's not the jacket or coat for you, okay? Now, if your front panel is super big, like you've lost a ton of weight, like you had a bit of a belly and you lost a ton of weight, you can take it in a little bit with a really good tailor. But if it's super, super big, I'm exaggerating, like maybe go down a size. But here, because where the armhole is, there's not a lot of seam allowance here. There's not a lot of seam allowance here where we can let things in or out and really, fit your frame. Back here in the stomach, there are these three seams, a side seam, a center seam, and a side seam here. I usually take it on the sides here to trim it up, to get rid of that fullness in the front. Just balances the jacket more. Sometimes we do the center depending on his build or frame or ladies. But the key thing when you're buying a jacket off the rack is you want to make sure this part fits the best, okay? Because here you can take it in. Same thing with the sleeves. So if the sleeves are too long, we can always shorten them. So don't not buy something because the sleeves are so long and it looks terrible. No, you go to a tailor, they shorten it, simple alteration, makes you look like $1,000,000, okay? Now, jacket length. I really worry, we can shorten jackets, but I worry about this proportion here. So if you're a real short guy and you need to shorten a jacket like this, I think that looks a little gypsy, and I would never do something like that in my tailor shop. A little bit, no problem, because I want to keep the proportion of the pocket there. If you have a jacket with patch pockets can be taken off and sewn up for the most part, depending on the fabric that the jacket's on. But keep in mind, we can shorten jackets, just the proportion where the pocket is. We don't want it to get too short because that just looks terrible. Like, it looks wonky, okay? Clean. Now, the reverse. If your jacket's too short, we cannot make it longer. And the reason is because of this curve. There's no seam allowance here to make it longer. It's just gonna look really, really bad. You gotta go to a tall or a long, okay? But in the sleeves, inside the sleeve, right here we have about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches of fabric that we can lengthen. So if on your sleeves, it's a little short, look inside the jacket, we can lengthen that. I do that all the time. It's super simple, okay? Some ideas. And then the big thing is just taking the stomach in. If there's a little dimple in the collar, we lower the collar here. Now, another question I get asked a lot is when this is like poking out in the bicep. So there's a couple things that make this happen that can be fixed, maybe not. Sometimes the shoulder pad is so thick and heavy that if we remove it, it just slouches more and it can't be fixed, or we use a thinner shoulder pad. But the big reason that this dimples in is because your bicep is too big. Your bicep is big and it's sticking out and it's bulging out and it's not fitting in the sleeve, and then that happens. So the key is stop doing bicep curls, get skinnier biceps, or buy a bigger jacket, okay? But just because you go up a size does not mean the bicep is always bigger. I haven't memorized every brand and how every brand fits, but you just really have to find a brand that fits your frame the best. And certain these little things can be tweaked if you go up a size or give you a little bit more room, okay? But those are pretty much a lot of really good general pieces of information to help you when you're shopping. Just make sure this fits, because certain other things can be tailored. My shop here is in Phoenix. You're always welcome to bring your jackets here for alterations. I can help anytime. Or try a local tailor. And if you're nervous about working with someone, have them do one thing. Don't have them do 7 things in your closet. Pick one thing, see how they do it. Give them chances. It's a human being doing stuff. Sometimes people make mistakes, but give them a chance or two to see their craftsmanship and how they work and their communication and their professionalism. And it's a lot of fun. But when you're shopping for jackets, I hope you found all those tips helpful. If you have any questions, I mean, you know what everyone does in these YouTube videos. Put the comments below. I have a website, qcontrary.com. You can always send me an email, Mary at qcontrary, or call my shop. I'm happy to help. Thanks.